Welcome me back, Tim Boetsch to the program. Getting ready to fight Ed Herman. Coming up here, UFC Fight Night 81, January 17th in Boston, Massachusetts. Strangely enough, he's at Team Irish in Maine, Marcus Davis's academy right now. That's where he does all his training camps. How long have you been out with Marcus this time, Tim?
About 10 weeks total, off and on. Holidays, went home and smashed some food, saw the kids and wife, and enjoyed some time there. But the majority of it was spent right here with Marcus. So plenty of time to get ready for this fight.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. I didn't realize it's been that long. You've been out there that long. Are you going a little stir crazy? You're not in your normal routine. You're not with your wife and kids. You're not doing the normal daddy stuff that you like to do. So you got to be going nuts right now, right?
Well, I still got a lot of fight left in me, so I got to do that while I can, and I'll be able to spend time with the wife and kids after the fight career is over with.
Fair enough. But let's be honest, Marcus can wear on you after about a week.
Yeah. I get a lot of videos and pictures of the kids doing their thing, and my son just started wrestling this year, so I get wrestling videos and stuff. So I keep track with that, and it'll be nice when the fight's over with. So his season's, there's a lot of season left. I can get back and do wrestling with him and all of those things. But ready to take care of business next weekend.
Yeah, let's talk about Ed, your opponent. It's nothing different that you haven't seen before. Like, you kind of know his style, his game plan. Were there very many adjustments you've had to make during this training camp to get ready for Ed Herman?
No, not really. Kind of know what you're dealing with. He's a guy that likes to walk to the center of the ring and throw some heavy hands and mix it up. And I've trained with him in the past. He came out to Matt Hume's when we did some training out there together. So I have seen him fight firsthand, and we fought on a couple cards together. So kind of know what I'm dealing with. I have heard that he recently switched camps and is more of a jiu-jitsu focus this one, but so maybe he'll think about dragging it to the ground, but I think it's going to be tough for Ed Herman to break his old habits of coming out and throwing down. But we'll see.
Being the short fuse, like just going there and going nuts and trying to, like a grenade. He basically pulls the pin when the fight starts. He counts to 3 and just goes until the explosion's over. I hate to ask because it really doesn't mean anything. But you said you guys worked out together. How did the workouts go together when you trained up at Hume's?
He's tough. I remember being very tough, and he seemed well-rounded at the time. Obviously, this was several years ago now, and we both, changed a little bit. But I felt like I got the better of the exchanges, but he might remember it differently. So it was a long time, but
and it's practice. Like, no, you can't put much weight into practice. A lot of different things going on. Being underneath the lights, having the ref stand in front of you and ask if you're ready, having Bruce Buffer announce your name, like those things add to the anxiety and add to the pressure of being inside the cage. So practice doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I'm sure he does have a different view, especially since it's been 3 years. So he'll definitely, everybody would have a different spin at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've improved your game, but you haven't changed your game much either. Everyone pretty knows what they're going to get with Tim Boetsch. They know what's going to happen, but your game is better. You're better at what you've been doing. What aspect of the game do you think that you've improved the most amount in the last 5 or 6 years?
I would say my striking for sure, and my ability to dictate where that goes and actually utilize some better boxing technique. Before it was just pure survival mode and going in there and throwing as hard as I can. And now I'm starting to actually understand the science behind it and the movement and the angles and all those sorts of things that it takes to be a very effective striker. And that's really what I want to show off. It's something I'm very proud of and put in a lot of hard work to get where I am today. But still, certainly there is that rawness to my striking game and my fight game as a whole. Like you said, there's no real surprise when I step in the ring. They know what they're going to get. And it's just a matter if they can deal with it or not.
I agree with your improvement, but I disagree with the verbiage. It's actually not your striking that's improved. Your striking is pretty much about the same. Which is so much better now is your movement. You actually get to an angle where you're not hitting a guy as hard as you can in his gloves. You're hitting a guy half as hard in the side of his ear. Like you've gotten a better position. You're finding the holes much better. It's really your hand game hasn't improved that much. your movement game has improved so much that your hand game has jumped 1,000% just with what you already had. It's amazing to see now. If like you go back and look at your old tapes from 5 years ago, you literally would just hope that something would sneak through. And now you're like, I know if I hit him here one more time, he'll move his hand a little bit further forward, and I'll go right around and hit him in the ear. Like you're getting so much better with it. So I agree with you, but just the way that you put the verbiage out there, I don't agree with. Has Marcus really been yelling at you, Marcus Davis? Really been yelling at you about your foot motion and making yourself more mobile, or was this something that just kind of happened from you being in so many fights?
I think it's just a natural evolution of figuring it out. Certainly, Matt Hume and Brad Kurtzen did a lot of footwork drills with me when I was in Seattle working with those guys, or Kirkland rather. But for whatever reason, I just didn't feel that the connection to go back there, and I didn't feel like the growth was there that needs to happen to keep progressing in the sport. And Marcus, he doesn't really force me to do anything different. He wants me to do what I'm good at and make me better at what I'm good at, and not really try to change me so much, and more bring out the violent side of who I am and all those sorts of things, which make a lot of sense to me. And as crazy as Marcus is, a lot of things he says make a lot of sense to me, and we're implementing those into my fight game.
Marcus and I agree a lot on his coaching tactics, because I'm a big believer as well. As I don't want to fix you and change what you're already doing. You got to the table by using a particular set of skills. Let's make those skills better, and then give you some more skills in some of the other fringe games that because there's 3 games that have to be played at one time. But always stick with your base, and your base is striking. Your base is being violent. Your base is being aggressive. But now you're being aggressive, violent striker with movement, head motion, defense, and learning how to weather the storm sometimes, because you do get hit. And you've learned a lot more lately on how to absorb that blow and not take it dead flush, but also okay, I'm a little rocked. I got to turtle up a little bit. I'm going to keep throwing, but I'm really trying to fade away and get my wits back about me. Is that another portion, your defensive stance, is that another portion of the evolution, or is it something that you actually had to consciously work on?
Yeah, so I knew early on in my career I didn't want to take a lot of damage, and that would shorten my career substantially. So just as I evolved, I know how to roll those punches and not take the damage that I did when I first started. And obviously that's a big concern for all fighters. You don't want to take a lot of damage early on in your career, because it's going to shorten your career.
I mean, we've seen guys, a lot of old name guys, especially the ones that came out of Pride, that jumped over to the UFC when the UFC purchased Pride. They were coming in as animals. And, of course, there was the drugs they were on, too, while they were over there. But they're coming as animals. And then even before the drug testing got so stringent, they were falling apart because they took a lot of head trauma coming in, a lot of battles, a lot of beatdowns. So, it's super smart that you're always thinking about not getting hit in the head and trying to survive that as much as you can. One more question before we get out of here. You're on a pretty stacked card. Obviously, with the main event of T.J. Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz, Anthony Pettis and Eddie Alvarez, the co-main events. Is there another fight on this card that you are kind of looking forward to, or you've been so busy trying to drink coffee with Marcus and not taunt you too much that you didn't even pay attention to who else is on this card?
Yeah, I don't really get caught up in watching the rest of the card. I just focus on getting in there and doing what I have to do on fight night, and hopefully everything goes as planned and we can enjoy the rest of the show, because I think I'm on the first fight of the prelims. So get in there, get the job done, and then enjoy the rest of the show, hopefully.
No matter what, win, lose, or draw, you should always enjoy the show that you're there. You've earned the right to be inside that cage, and it's a tough job. Like I've said many times in the past, you're doing a job that 99% of the men in the world want to do. About 3% of the men in the world can actually do it, and only 1% can do it well enough to be in the UFC. So you can definitely call yourself a 1%er.
I appreciate that.
You got it, Tim. Thanks so much for taking us on. I know it was a last-minute kind of deal, and it's late for you guys up there in Maine. I appreciate it so much, and we'll talk again soon. Good luck in the fight. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Frank. Always a pleasure. Take care.